Are we on? Okay, good afternoon. Slightly rushed because I got the impression that we were supposed to start at 2:45. My mistake, probably. I must have goofed up somewhere. But anyway, thank you for coming in. Very briefly, before I go into what I have to show you and what I have to share with you, uh, very briefly, when I started working in the area of, okay, before that, a quick introduction. My name is Ayaz Shafi. I work in the area of behavioral skills and training. I run assessment and development centers. I also coach a few senior corporate professionals. That's a bit of background. So when I started working in the area of behavioral skills, I would go through those typical motivation theories, Maslow and Herzberg and X and Y kind of theories. And I thought that there was a gap somewhere. I had a bit of difficulty explaining it to my audiences, found it very challenging because if I'm not convinced in my mind, it's impossible for me to explain the same to somebody else. So over the last 10 years, I started exploring, started talking to people, started interviewing people, and this developed over the last 10 years. So what I'm going to share with you is a paper which was published last November in the journal, International Journal for Human Behavior in the Social Environment. That's the journal it's been published in. And so far have received very good feedback. We have had a lot of people writing back to us saying makes a lot of good sense. I'm looking at going further into this, doing a bit of leadership study, shared with Tom on that one, and going into the medical aspect, the hormones, how do they impact your motivation or your behavior. Okay. So if you can go into the slide. It's not opening? Okay. Okay. I share with you. I grew up in Calcutta. I am from Calcutta, the city where Mother Teresa worked and did all her great bit of work, service to mankind. And I grew up watching her distributing food to the poorest of poor on Sundays, on Park Street Crossing, on Ripon Street Crossing. And I grew up watching these ambulances picking up the destitute from the street, taking them to the homes, getting them medical assistance and help, giving them food and shelter. I grew up watching this place called Prem Dan coming up. Prem Dan is a home for the destitute, actually. Right? And I used to wonder, as a young man, even as I grew older, I used to wonder, why would somebody give up on the comfort of her home, come to an absolutely unknown culture, an unknown society, unknown language, different climatic conditions, and live there and do this? I mean, I understand if you're making $1 million, right? And you're doing, I understand, there's a logic to it. You're making a lot more money, so you're willing to give up on your family, go out of your country, live in a different culture, do all that. That's fantastic. But I don't understand this. It's difficult to explain. Right? In the conventional sense, it's difficult to explain. So I used to wonder, how does it work? Didn't have an answer to that. And Maslow's theory didn't help me much. When I started trying to figure that one out, it didn't help me much. And then I also read about people like Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. And again, I would wonder, why would a man who was in a position to bargain and claim anything that he wanted to when India got independence? He could have been president of this country for life. He could have been the prime minister of this country for life. He could have been the king of this country for all you care. And nobody, believe me, nobody would have objected back in 1947. Nobody would have uttered a word against it. The trouble was between Nehru and Jinnah. And if Gandhi had said, look, I'm putting my hand up, and I'm the one who wants to be the prime minister, probably the division wouldn't have happened. Right? The point I'm making is, the man was in that position. And it's difficult to understand why would he say no? I mean, people die and people kill for those positions. And he still didn't want that position. I also read about, as a young boy, I read about a young prince in the Terai region of Nepal, walking out on his young wife and a very, very young son, right? And then wandering the country, going from place to place, looking more like a vagabond, and you won't know why he is doing that. Till the time he comes to Bodh Gaya and attains what he calls Nirvana, right? Enlightened one. Would you do that? Would I do that? There's a big question mark. There is this temptation once in a while to abandon things and go out, but we don't actually end up doing that. But you look at this, and when you look at a number of such people, a number of examples actually, when you look at that, you try and figure out, why do people do this? Why do they give up on all the worldly pleasure, all the riches, and say, I don't want all of this? Now, bring it down to our level, yours and mine. And I say, the time when I come across a needy person, I don't know the person, I just bump into that person. And the person I know needs help. And I dig into my pocket, pull out whatever I can. I remember a particular instance where this young man was lying on the street. He had an accident. I was on my vehicle, on my two-wheeler actually. And then he was lying there, bleeding, and I picked him up, got him onto my vehicle, took him to medical assistance. I had an important meeting, gave up on that one, and did this. You wonder, why do you do that? So the point is this, that there is a very strong spiritual urge from within that gets us to do a few things which is not easy to explain. I mean, if you were to explain it in material terms, in emotional terms, very, very difficult to explain. All that we do, there are times when we do this, there are times when we avoid it. There are times when we say no to it, and there are times when we say yes to it. Then again, I went on and read some more, and I saw this story of this king. You know, I read Linda Goodman. I guess most of us would have read Linda Goodman in college days. I did. Most of my generation read Linda Goodman in college days, right? It was the thing to do. And when I read Linda, I'm a March born, right? And Linda Goodman tells me that I'm the ultimate romantic. Nobody can beat me at it. So if I have to make a sacrifice, I'm the one who is going to make the biggest sacrifice for the love of my life. I haven't done any such thing, honestly. But when you look at a king, right? And he says, thank you so much. I don't want the throne. I don't want the crown. I want my lady. It's another story that he divorced later on. I'm talking about Duke of Windsor, Edward VIII. And he was a June born. He wasn't a March born, incidentally, right? And you again wonder, why would somebody do that? Right? And then again, through history, through life, you know a lot of such people who have done n number of things which are purely for emotional reasons. Very difficult to explain and justify in material terms. That's the one we understand most easily these days. At least now we understand that one most easily. So when you look at this, and you look at your own conduct and behavior, and you say, we have got that? Sorry. Give me a second, please. Let me know. Okay. Now I just want the pictures to come in so that you can connect with what I'm talking about, right? Now when you look at your own conduct and behavior, I know this little thing that happened to me. My daughter was all of 2.5, and she gets up on a winter night. She gets up at about 2:30 in the morning and says she wants chocolate. Right? Happens. Right. So she gets up at 2:30 and she says, I want a chocolate. I say, okay, let me go down. I go down to the refrigerator, pick up what is available, say, have it. She says, no, I don't want this one. And she howls and she cries. And her mom is angry, right? She says, what the hell is going on? You have this or you You go away, right? I'm not getting you anything. So what do? I get up, get dressed. So I get up, get dressed, and I go out, a chilly winter night. I go looking for a shop which is still open to sell chocolates. I get the brand she's looking for. Now you tell me that you're going to pay me amount X to the power X. And you tell me, go get up, go get a chocolate. I say, thank you very much. Not interested. Am I right? Difficult to explain again. Now, when you look at your emotional reasons for doing things, it becomes a little more logical. We can understand that a lot more easily. Right? So we do n number of things for emotional reasons. And as there are these Monday mornings when you get up. When we get up on a Monday morning, you don't want to get up actually, right? Monday morning blues. You actually want to sleep a little late, had a late night party and tired, don't feel like it. But you do get up and go, right? I do get up and gather myself and say, oh, got to go anyway. Because there's something waiting there. And what happens if I don't do it? Well, the amount that is to be credited in my bank account end of the month doesn't get credited. Right? So I do a lot of things purely for material reasons. We would have heard of Alexander Onassis. The man very famously once said, no friends, no enemies, only competitors. That's what I have around me. Right? And this was a classic example of a man. If Mother Teresa is an example of somebody driven by spiritual drive, and if King Edward is an example of somebody driven by emotional drive, here is an example of somebody driven by material drive. He wants to own the world. Right? Now you look at your own conduct and behavior and say there are times when you do things, sacrificing maybe spiritual drive, sacrificing maybe emotional drive, purely for material reasons. Reflect on this one, chew on this one. But does it mean that, we can just put, go to the next one. The next one, yeah. And the next one. And that's the one I was talking about. And when you look at him, he's a man who apparently was driven purely by material drive. Most of his achievements were in material terms. Right? But that doesn't mean that's the only drive which works for him, and I'll come back to that in a minute. Now, do we do things purely for material, spiritual, and sensual, emotional reasons, or are there other drives as well? Right? Go to the next one, ma'am. Now, I come from Calcutta. And in my city,